Hello, welcome to the Politics Chicks. I'm Monica Healy,
And I'm Christy Brannon.
and today we are joined by Matt Gromlich. And we happened to stumble on him by happenstance. We already had a meeting today with him to talk about some other things. And it turns out that Louisiana, where Matt is from, is the political epicenter today. So we decided to
Very
hop
nice.
on and get his take on things. So, Matt, thanks for coming on with us today.
Thank you for having me and for having this be impromptu. I really appreciate it.
And for our listeners, tell people who you are, where you are, and why what is happening right now in Louisiana is a big deal.
Wow. So my name is Matt Gromlich. I'm running for Congress in Louisiana's 4th District, which is Speaker Mike Johnson's district. And it's in Northwest Louisiana, but it spans 20 different parishes down pretty much the whole western side of the state. It's a huge geographic district, and it's redrawn in 2024, which is part of what we'll be discussing today and the result of the Supreme Court. But a little bit about me. I'm an educator. I taught high school math and science. Now I teach future high school math and science teachers and future principals here at LSU in Shreveport. My job is fantastic. My students are fantastic. I love everything about this area. There's so much opportunity, and I'm running because I see everybody here in the value and what we could do as a state and a region. And currently, we're just not tapping into all of our resources.
Christy and I were
Right.
talking earlier, and we really feel strongly that people who have real lives and real jobs before entering into the political arena are really more representative of what the American electorate looks like. And I think
Mhm.
there's some big appeal for general Americans to see somebody like you running for a political office. Hooray for Matt. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
we can't dance around the elephant in the room. And what happened yesterday with the Supreme Court, it was a pretty dark ruling. And I've seen a lot of comparisons online to the loss of Roe v. Wade, how it guts the Voting Act.
Mhm.
So do you want to talk on that and what the ruling did and how it's going to affect not just Louisiana, but the whole electorate?
Absolutely. This result truly will change the fabric of elections and representatives and congressional maps moving forward, starting potentially even tomorrow, but definitely in the South in the 2026 general elections and then moving towards 2028. So, what happened was the Voting Rights Act in Section 2, the idea of Congress is that Congress is representative or should be representative of the constituents of America. And some of that is rural and urban. Some of that is based on ethnicity. Some of that is based on blue collar, white collar. Like it should be a good representation, gender, sexuality. And what we have seen happen without any type of guardrails is what tends to happen with anything is that one group takes over. And if you're in a minority group without, legal protections under the law, you tend to not be represented. And so, what has happened in the last 60 years is with the Voting Rights Act, there are districts that have been drawn that provide a minority group to elect whoever they choose to represent them. And most likely, it's someone who looks most like them and is from that community. It doesn't have to be, but at
Mhm.
least you're giving the people the opportunity to elect someone who could best represent you. And that's the goal. And so what they did specifically in Louisiana, but this has been all over the country, is in 2024, they redrew our maps. We have 6 representatives at the federal level, and they redrew the map to create a second majority minority district, a second primarily African American district up here in the Shreveport area. There's already one in the New Orleans, Baton Rouge area, and they created this, they call it like a snake, a pretty crazy district to allow minority people in Louisiana to have more of a voice. About a third of Louisiana is Black. And so it makes sense that a third of Black Louisianans have the ability to elect whoever they think best represents them. And so then 2 out of our 6 representatives were elected from minority districts. That was just struck down yesterday in a 6-3 ruling. So for us in Louisiana, this is very close to us because it's like actually talking about the 6th district, which is Cleo Fields district that was created 2 years ago. The long-term implications of this is that any district that was drawn under the Voting Rights Act anywhere in the country now has legal standing to bring their case to the Supreme Court or to change their voting maps. And depending on who you talk to, what that looks like, that could be up to 15 different districts that could be redrawn even by 2026 general election.
Wow.
Yeah. And then let's talk about the other elephant in the room, because votes have already been cast in Louisiana about
Yes.
the new map. So why don't we go into that?
Yeah. So what the Supreme Court decision said is that, okay, the 2024 map that is now present in 2026 is not constitutional under the Voting Rights Act that they're gutting. But primaries for us in Louisiana, we moved to a semi-closed primary system for 2026, and ballots have already been sent out, absentee ballots and mail-in ballots for people who are disabled. And we start early voting literally in 2 days. So people have already voted. They've already gotten their ballots. They've already mailed them back in. And we have this whole get out the vote plan and strategy and canvassers and everybody ready to go to the polls on Saturday morning. The Supreme Court decision didn't say anything about having to change our map right now. All it said is like, what you have is not constitutional. You should work on that. You should fix it. The governor has decided that's a mandate to change the maps now before the general election, and in the meantime cancel our primaries, which have already started, and we have early voting in 2 days.
We should point out that as we're recording this, there's a lot of conflicting information coming at us, where we have major news outlets that are already saying that the primaries have been canceled, but that in fact is not determined as of yet, correct?
Correct. Just so we have a timestamp, this is Thursday, April 30th, around 1 p.m. Central Time, Louisiana time. But what happened is that our governor last night came out and said, oh, based on the ruling, I want to cancel the primaries. And then he had a press conference this morning and said, we're going to cancel the primaries. But there has not been any legislation. There hasn't been any order. There hasn't been anything through the courts. There hasn't been anything filed as of 1 o'clock to say that he's actually going to take any action on that. So right now it's just words. It's a governor who does have power. Now, what powers does he have? We can talk about. And a lot of that is untested, really. But right now it's just words. And so it's really unfortunate. So the first round of articles last night took his words and said, Louisiana might cancel, or Governor Landry is trying to cancel these primaries. And this morning, now those articles are citing the ones that were written last night, and they're saying the primary is canceled. And so he's like speaking this into existence.
I think we should point out what happened in Texas during their primary. They ended up going to the state Supreme Court, and there was a lot of confusion around that. And that was on voting day.
Yep.
So you're looking at a very small window between now and when early voting starts. And like we've already pointed out, there has already been mail-in ballots that have been cast.
Yes.
There will be some litigation going forward for sure around this.
I'm sure Mark Elias is going to be all over this. I just can't picture that
absolutely
he won't be. But let's make something very clear for our listeners. If this can happen in Louisiana, it can happen in Minnesota. It can happen in Texas. It can happen in Illinois. It could happen anywhere. And so that's why paying attention to this and really voicing your opinion by calling your members of Congress today about this is important. And if you were a is it a Louisianan? Is that what you're called?
Yes.
If you are a Louisianan, you need to pick up your phone, call the governor's office, call your local legislator's office, and let them know that you are not okay with this. So volume works. Trust us. We are from Minnesota. We know exactly what volume and mobilization can do.
Voters should choose their representatives, not the other way around.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I appreciate you all having me on so much, because, you know, the governor came out this morning and said, tomorrow, Friday, we're going to announce our plan. It means you don't have a plan. So that means today is the day where we, as citizens, as voters, as people in this society who care about democracy, this is the day that we have to be loud. This is the day that we have to show our volume, we show our spirit, we show what's important to us. Because if we can have a true movement and have enough calls, enough posts on social media, enough media attention, just enough, and amplify and spotlight what's happening here, it could be enough for him to chicken out tomorrow. Nothing is set in stone yet. The only thing set in stone is that he might say something tomorrow. So this is the time where we stand up, where we can't concede before the battle's even been fought. Today is the battle.
All right, folks, you heard it. Start making those phone calls. Get loud. This is your chance to make your voice heard.
And in the show notes and in the posts that we'll be sharing on social media, I will be putting phone numbers of where you can reach out to voice your opinion. So
Thank you.
why don't we we want to keep this kind of short so that we can get this up as soon as possible. But Matt, why don't you just tell us a little bit about how your campaign's going and where you're looking at taking it from here and after the primary on the 16th?
Our campaign, we were a fledgling campaign. We came into the race a little late. Part of that is because of my work with the university and making sure that all permissions were okay and the sign-offs. But we are super proud of the work that we've done. We have tried to hit every single parish in the current map of District 4, which, as I mentioned, is pretty large geographically, parts of 20 different parishes. And we've driven down. My former student and friend and somebody who works on the campaign with me, she wears a lot of hats, is sitting off on the corner. But Courtney, do you know how many hundreds of miles we put? Close to 3,000. Almost 3,000 miles that we've driven all over the district to interact with voters in person, canvass, knock on doors, visit coffee shops, visit the local cafes in these areas. And the feedback that we've gotten is fantastic. Everybody is so appreciative that we're there. They've never met a congressional candidate before. And all they're wanting is for a better Louisiana. And so getting these voices from all over has just been so validating and reassuring, and really is spurring our campaign forward, where we're taking that in and then we're just going to amplify and exponentiate this.
Yeah, and we're going to have you back on for a longer full-length podcast. But since we had you in a meeting this morning and all this shit went down last night, we're like, hey, let's jump on. We've got you.
I appreciate it so much.
And yeah, and if you are any media out there, I would highly recommend getting a hold of Matt to have this conversation with him as well. We need to get this in front of as many eyeballs as possible.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Great. If you are finding value in our work, we would absolutely love it if you would like, comment, and share, because it helps us out more than you can know to get this work in front of as many eyeballs as possible.
Follow us everywhere at the Politics Chicks on all the platforms.
Thanks,
Matt.